The Elder Scrolls Online is finally cleaning up its act, but will it be enough to win players back? Hey everyone, it's Spopes. Huge changes are coming to the Elder Scrolls Online this year. After a disastrous 2025, the new leadership team seems to have gotten its act together, delivering lots of brand new content, along with adding many changes to the game that players have been asking for years. In this guide, I'm going to cover everything new that's coming to ESO this year, while also addressing some of the long-standing complaints that might still keep players away. We'll discuss the context of where the game is at currently, talk about the new features and activities that are coming, and also discuss combat issues and other problems that remain in the game after 12 years. My goal is to help you as either a new or returning player decide whether it's worth it to jump back into the Elder Scrolls Online in 2026. Before we dive into that, I could use your help. Please support the channel by liking and hyping the video. Please also subscribe if you haven't yet. And to support me even further, you can become a member of the Spopes Army. I have lots of perks and plans start at $1 a month. You can also pick up some of the merch listed below the video. You can go to my Fourth Wall site for a full catalog of merch, and you can also leave me donations on Fourth Wall. Thanks for helping me out as a content creator, guys. Now let's dive into my full analysis of whether it's worth it to play the Elder Scrolls Online in 2026. It's no stretch to say that 2025 was a disastrous year for the Elder Scrolls Online. Hundreds of workers were laid off, the studio's upcoming sci-fi noir looter-shooter MMO Project Blackbird was cancelled, and the studio director, Matt Fuhrer, left ZeniMax Online Studios after developing ESO for 18 years. Reactions to new content in the game, such as the Writhing Wall event, were muted or downright negative. The new zone added to the game, Solstice, was lambasted as being bare bones, with some commentators saying it even looked AI-generated. In terms of player counts, ESO has been on a downward trajectory for a while now. So why, given all this context, would I say that it's actually a good year to get into the Elder Scrolls Online for the first time or to jump back into ESO as a returning player? Well, as they say, change brings opportunity. The new studio director at ZOS, Joe Burba, used to be in charge of the live events in the game, and so far his leadership seems to be turning the game around. The new game director, Nick Giacomini, is an actual gamer who seems to know how the game works. He actually plays ESO, and it shows. This combination of new leadership and what's likely to be a lot more oversight from Microsoft has led to the announcement of some of the most sweeping changes in the game's history. In addition to a lot of new features and content in the game, players are getting lots of player experience improvements they've been asking for years. Content is now going to be delivered in a seasonal format, which the devs say opens them up to make more responsive changes and adapt to player feedback in a dynamic way. The first phase of these changes, Update 49, is chock full of new features and player experience improvements that should add to the overall value of the game. And what's perhaps most important about all of this is that all new content in ESO is going to be free to play. That's right, you still have to buy the base game if you haven't already, and to unlock all the features of the game, you will need to buy ESO Plus, which is $140 a year. But there will be no more yearly chapter purchases, which were previously about $40 a year. All seasonal content is going to be free. All of the improvements to the game they're adding are going to be free. Even all the new zones they're eventually going to add will be free as well, plus the fact that older DLCs are being bundled into the game for free, starting with Orsinium, Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood, and Imperial City, and then the Greymoor chapter is also being added to the game for free this fall. With all that in mind, the barriers to entry for ESO for both new and returning players are the lowest they've ever been. Before, to experience whatever's new in the game, you would have to buy the new chapter. You no longer have to do that. ESO Plus has always been optional. And overall, they're adding an immense amount of value to the game this year that you can, again, if you already have the game, just jump in and experience for free. One of the new pieces of actual content that's coming to the game is the Night Market, which is a group zone with high difficulty that's only going to be available for 7 weeks, starting on April 29th, but it's coming back again the fall. You group up with random players, or you can come in with a group, take on challenging enemies, get cosmetics, there's dungeon-like activities, there's even a trial-like activity. This is going to test your power, encourage you to team up. It's something they've never done in the game before. There's also a new trial coming this year called the Crimson Veldt. That's not coming till this summer, but also this summer they're going to have a naval combat themed event called the High Seas of Tamriel. The team at ESO also recently confirmed that new zones will keep being added to the game, And they've dropped several hints that the new zone that's coming is going to be Winterhold from Skyrim. This will likely come in the fall as part of their overall Greymoor themed content as we celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Plus, there are going to be new quest lines added to the game, one related to the Thieves Guild that completely reimagines this aspect of the game. There's going to be a new Thieves Guild, there's going to be new types of environments, and there's also going to be a new quest line surrounding the character Sheogorath. Plus, starting in the summer, with Season 1, there's going to be a new endgame activity called the Sage's Vault. We don't really know much about what the Sage's Vault is going to entail yet, but it sounds like it's something similar to the Infinite Archive. Plus, they're adding 2 new kinds of content to the game, Favors and Rumors. Favors are new types of daily quests that escalate as you do them, and Rumors are some kind of mystery you have to solve throughout Tamriel. They're like normal quests, but you don't get your hand held, you have to figure it out yourself. We really don't know much about Favors or Rumors yet, they've just teased them so far. But all in all, there is a wealth of content being added to the game in 2026, especially when you consider the high likelihood that Winterhold is going to be added as a new zone later in the year. So they aren't doing chapters anymore, but they are doing new zones. And every 3 months with a new season, there's going to be new content that, again, the important part here is that it's all for free. There's no more buying chapters, there's no more buying new content. They're giving away a lot of old content for free now as well, and everything new is also free. That's one of the biggest reasons I think it is worth it to try ESO again this year or to jump into it for the first time, but we haven't even touched on the massive improvements to the base game that are also going to be included in 2026. Another disaster I failed to mention at the beginning of the video was the introduction of subclassing last year, which created an almost unassailable meta where endgame players now feel like they have to choose particular skill lines from particular classes to remain competitive. The team at ESO is addressing this in a few different ways. First, they're going through each class and improving their class identity, starting with the Dragon Knight and then the Sorcerer and then on to all the other classes. Plus, the devs just teased that a new system is being added with Season 1 called Class Mastery that grants new passive abilities if you stay within your pure class. So it's really starting to look like the subclassing nightmare is over. At least the devs are paying attention to the problems that were introduced with this system. This is just another sign that they're responding better to player feedback and really doing their best to make the game as good as possible. There are also just a ton of player experience and UI improvements that are coming to the game. For instance, outfit slots are now going to be account-wide. You're going to be able to respec skills and attributes directly within the UI without any cost. You'll gain XP on your back bar while you're using your front bar skills. Both new and old mounts are being added to the stable that you can buy with gold. Plus, you'll be able to improve your mount by 3% per day instead of just 1% in whichever trait you choose. They're also going to be making huge changes to the werewolf and vampire skill lines, the way you become a werewolf or a vampire, including a total refresh to the werewolf skill line coming late in Update 49. On top of all that, a new system is being added into the game called the Gold Coast Bazaar, which allows you to pick up cosmetic items that were previously gated behind Twitch drops, old festivals, stuff you could never get again. This is all being added to an in-game menu where you can use earnable currency to buy all these old cosmetics and also a lot of new ones. There are actually so many player experience improvements coming just in Update 49 that it's hard to list them all. You'll be able to hide your chest, waist, legs, hands, and feet in addition to your head and shoulders. It's going to cost less to upgrade your bank in your bag, and you can do it directly in the UI. Antiquity leads will last longer, treasure maps will work better, you'll be able to represent your guild without a tabard, and there are increased transmute crystal and furnishing limits for both ESO Plus and non-ESO Plus players. ESO has created a whole dedicated team for just improving the player experience. Whether they're terrified the game is dying or they really just want to make it good for years and years is hard to tell, but they are really putting a lot of work in here to make the game better. It's definitely worth checking out. Something I nearly forgot to mention is the introduction of a new system called Challenge Difficulty. This allows you to change the difficulty of overland content to make your attacks weaker and to make mobs hit harder in exchange for more gold and experience. This is one of those things the community has been asking for years, and it's just another reason you might want to check out ESO this year. Now it's time to talk about one of the more controversial features being added to ESO with Update 49, Tamriel Tomes. This is a battle pass, and I know a lot of people are triggered by that name alone. But what I've been saying this whole time, and what I'm going to continue to say here, is that Tamriel Tomes are inherently free. Yes, there is a paid track, but it's entirely optional and only offers cosmetic items. If you're an ESO Plus member, you even get one premium tome per year for free with your ESO Plus membership. People have been saying that the actual cost of the game is increasing, and that's a logical fallacy that can easily be disproved by the fact the Crown Store has always existed in the game. It will continue to exist, but people don't say the game is more expensive inherently because of the Crown Store. It simply can be. It's something you can opt into. You can buy Crown crates, you can buy other stuff with crowns, but you don't have to. It's all cosmetics. The game is actually cheaper now because there are no more chapters. The new content is not gated behind the Tamriel Tomes. It's simply an optional thing you can buy for cosmetics. I've really been having trouble understanding why people are so up in arms about this. I made a few videos on the topic already. None of the arguments make sense. Again, the game is not inherently more expensive because of this. You can either buy the Tamriel Tomes or not. It's all cosmetic. One other improvement that's really worth mentioning is the overall improvements to the base alliance zones. They're going to continue rolling out on a regular basis. One of the biggest wins in the game in 2025 was the art refreshes to the starter islands. Areas like Betnik, Kynarthi's Roost, and Stros Mackay received complete refreshes to their artwork, putting them more in line with the modern releases to the game. The team is continuing to work on this, so we can expect art refreshes to Auradon as well. Glenumbra, Rivenspire, Stonefalls, Deshawn, all of these base game areas are going to receive complete art refreshes, just like they did with Betnik and the other starter islands. On top of that, all sorts of new content is being added to the base alliance zones. The Sheogorath questline, for instance, is coming in Season 1, is going to include new points of interest throughout the base alliance zones. So they're going to keep improving and adding to these base and free parts of the map as time goes on in the game. Like I've mentioned a few times throughout the video, there is a whole lot changing with ESO this year. So I may have missed some of the new features and content that are coming, but that just goes to show that there's so much going on that I can't even hold it all in my head. This is a big year for the game. Whether it's enough to save it or not, that's the question. But it's worth being part of history as ESO goes through its most pivotal year ever. One thing I know I forgot to mention is the reworks to the weapon skill lines they're doing. People have often complained about combat in ESO being floaty or outdated. They are changing both the way that weapon skills work and the way they look under the hood. This is starting with the two-handed weapon skill line, but they're going to do this with all the skill lines, just like they're fixing all the different classes to make them look and feel better. But yeah, now that I've covered, I think, at least almost everything, it's time to talk about some of the headwinds that ESO is still facing this year that might disincentivize players from coming back. So the main problem, as we were just mentioning, is with combat. This is the primary complaint with ESO that we've been hearing for years and years at this point. The team is making great strides to fix combat animations and fix combat overall, but there's only so much you can do with an outdated engine that is now 15 plus years old. ESO partially continues to be held back by the fact they still support old-gen consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4. Nothing about that is changing this year, so the technical limitations will still be there. Crossplay and cross-progression have been announced for the game, but they aren't coming this year, with the most likely launch date being 2027 or 2028. Plus, while I like it personally, there is significant controversy surrounding the Tamriel Tomes Battle Pass system. Many do not like the direction the game is taking in terms of monetization. That's another headwind the game is facing. Plus, while there have been some major shakeups in the ESO leadership team over the last year, there are still some deadweight members who are probably dragging the whole ship down. Brian Wheeler is now the director of all combat in the game, and he famously didn't know how heavy attacks work in a dev stream from 2024 with Cypher PK. It would be an understatement to say that Gina Bruno, the creator engagement manager, is not particularly liked within the community, and neither is Jessica Folsom. Really though, the primary complaint is simply about combat, and they are making huge changes to combat this year. So I would recommend even those who hate ESO for its combat that they come back and try it out. It's going to be way different now. Maybe it's going to be worse, maybe it's going to be better. But the fact they're finally addressing combat after all these years is another sign the team is paying attention. So overall, what is my verdict as to whether it's worth coming back to ESO in 2026? As someone who generally likes ESO a lot, I do a lot of ESO content. This may be no surprise, but I'm saying yes, do come back. Or do pick it up for the first time. For returning players, this is a great time to check back in with ESO and see how it's doing. For new players, honestly, I don't think the game has ever been in a better state, especially in terms of the interaction between the developers and the players. One of the main reasons I say it's worth it to come back is there are no more paywalls. You can just jump back into the game if you already have the base game, or you can pick it up on sale for like $5, and you can experience everything the game has to offer, except for buying DLCs and the perks you get with ESO Plus. But even without ESO Plus, they're adding a bunch of old DLCs to the game. It's really worth it in that sense from an economic perspective. ESO Plus is still an obstacle for those who want to play in a more robust way, but you can avoid picking it up. You can pick it up for just a month to try it out. I know a lot of people who've played the game since launch who have never once touched ESO Plus. It's definitely not necessary, especially with everything they're folding into the base game. And really, foremost, I feel like it's just worth experiencing what could be a pivotal year in the history of ESO. And not just ESO, but the history of MMOs overall. With new MMOs failing to impress or simply dying before they even get off the ground, it's really starting to seem like the industry is collapsing around existing titles that have proven track histories, are proven breadwinners. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how in this very tumultuous time for MMOs, titles like ESO, Final Fantasy, and WoW continue to fare. Plus, there are so many free improvements to the game this year. All the free new content, all the player experience improvements. It's worth jumping back in or trying the game out for the first time just to experience all of that. Plus, the team hasn't even announced everything that's coming this year yet. For instance, it's not yet confirmed if Winterhold is coming this year, but it's certainly looking that way. There's new leadership, there's a new ethos when it comes to engaging with players, and Microsoft is definitely demanding results. It's worth seeing how this all plays out, if nothing else. So thank you all for watching, everybody. I wanted to give both my existing subscribers and new viewers the most comprehensive overview of what's coming in ESO that I could. If you guys appreciate what I laid down here, please do like and subscribe. And again, in addition to liking and subscribing, you can support me directly by becoming a member of the Spopes Army, leaving me a donation here on YouTube or on my Fourth Wall site, and also picking up some of my Fourth Wall merch. I really appreciate all you being here today. I'm going to finish up with a prayer as always. Lord, thank you for continuing to improve ESO, for making 2026 shape up into such an interesting year for the game. Please help this video reach as many viewers as possible. Help people who are curious about ESO figure out whether they want to play or not. Lord, please bless everyone watching. For anyone struggling to follow in your footsteps, help the yoke of Jesus and his burden be light. Lord, I give you all glory for the video today and for my channel. Please do help it grow so I can continue to glorify Jesus Christ. And Lord, please guide all those recently departed to your side. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Again, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments below. Let me know if there's anything I missed about what's changing this year in ESO. And also don't forget to like the video, hype it, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications because I'll be back soon with new content.